Hello and welcome to Aha Moment, Assume and Receive. So this is based on Aha Moment that was sent out April 24th. If you are not on the list, then get on the list at jrang.com and you will receive an Aha Moment Monday, every Monday at 8 a.m. Eastern, like magic. And I hope you enjoy them. I look forward to your feedback. Email me, if that Aha Moment hit a chord with you or there's something that jumped out. The point of Aha Moments is exactly that. When you have that aha moment of something that hits you and you go, oh, I get it at a different level, or sometimes somebody just says something that, I was talking with a friend of mine, Kathy Kominiski, who is a very talented intuit, and we share resources, we share progress with each other, things that we're learning and things that are, coming through our airways. And I was sharing something with her about a topic that we had been talking about, the whole gender issue and some of the changes that are going on and why the changes are going on. And all of a sudden I heard her just have this great exclamation on the other side of the phone. And she's like, oh my God, I can't believe it. She put two and two together. As I mentioned, I said, I know, once you get it, once you get the agenda, you understand why this is happening. And it's a revelation, right? So the aha moments in that spirit of wow, of aha, of revelation, are pivotal to our growth. I like to say that we learn and we grow and we mature through our purpose, one aha moment at a time. So all of these aha moments are really crucial. So when you receive your aha moment, or when you watch the videos and we go through the ahas, I'm going to really encourage you to just kind of pause a little bit. And if you want to journal, or you want to email me, or you want to talk it over, share it with your friends and kind of say, okay, what does this mean to you? This is what struck me, because this is always about your growth, right? It's always about self-knowledge, which they say is the highest form of knowledge. So let's always be growing and learning ourselves, right? We never, just because we're a certain age, or, certain letters after initials or whatever, we're just getting started. Every day we're just getting started. So as per usual, I'm going to go through the aha that was published. And then, at the end of it, we'll just kind of break down a couple of really core elements of it and for discussion, and then look forward to your feedback on all of it. Okay, here we go. I'm going to call it up. Let's go find this baby here. Here we go. Okay, and again, it is called Assume and Receive. Have you ever had something happen out of the blue? You were just thinking of someone and they telephoned. You realized your bank account was getting slim, and then an unexpected piece of business landed to fill the void. You're booking a trip and there just happens to be a flight on sale. Sound familiar? Did those things really happen out of the blue, though? In my upcoming book, 50 Simple Ways to Release the Shackles of Self-Sabotage, I reveal that I set many intentions during the day, visualizing everything from the outcome of an upcoming conversation, the string of green lights I need to get me somewhere quickly, to the parking spot availing itself at the exact moment I pull into the lot. I've manifest finding someone I haven't seen in 2 years in a crowd of 14,000 people, the exact dress I want to be on sale when I walk into the store, to finding the perfect contractor to perform work. While I always have lifestyle goals, I set many small intentions throughout the day to align things as I need them to. My friend Gina shared that she's practicing working on assumptions. We consulted Neville Goddard on his principle of the law of assumption to compare notes, intentions versus assumptions, and sharpen our manifesting skills. Goddard teaches us that the way to create anything you desire is simply to assume the feeling of the wish desired. The reason is that nothing exists outside of your consciousness. I'll pause and let that sink in. And now the aha. Aha. Assume the desire and bring it into form. Here's the truth. You are a walking electromagnetic field, a transmitter and receiver of information, and every minute of every day influencing the outcome of your life. One problem is that likely you have not been taught that. More likely, every mentor from infancy instilled that you are to some degree powerless, and you should believe that things happen to you and that someone or something else is in control. When you become aware of your capabilities, you begin to take responsibility for your feelings, your vibration, and set out every day with the purpose of fulfilling your soul's desire. A second problem, as Goddard points out, is that many don't stay with assumption fully and emotionally living the goal long enough for it to materialize. It can't help but materialize, though. That's how the law of vibration works. What if just for today, you park the stories about Murphy's Law, being lucky or unlucky, or in some way living as a victim of circumstance? And what if you allowed your actions to be driven by the assumption that you were 100% on track with achieving your vision, that you already own it, regardless of any physical evidence? Does that sound scary, that you might just achieve that desire? Ah, how about that? Wow, that was a big one. That was a big one. And it was a great conversation that I had with Gina about assumptions. So she actually emailed me and she says, I'm practicing living by assumption, and I like that. I was like, okay. We got together for lunch and we kind of unpacked it a little bit. Well, actually afterwards. And she said, we called up Neville Goddard when we were both online together, and we were kind of looking at different quotes and stuff. And she was questioning kind of my word about intentions, because in intentions, I guess the way Goddard had explained it is that you're not fully when you intend to have something, it's almost like there's an out. And he's basically saying that it's not an inner out or truth or not truth, or that there's reality or non-reality. Is that I was creating a little bit of a barrier, and I'm paraphrasing, I'm putting words in his mouth. That's not how he explained it, but basically at the quote that said that everything is within your consciousness, that sums it up in a sense that when I'm using the word intention, he was saying, well, you're having an intention, but you're actually separating yourself from reality. When you are assuming, then you are living in that emotional state as though that goal has already come into existence. So I totally understand the difference, and I hope you do too. I hope I'm explaining it well enough for you. And the difference really, and this is a huge conversation that we can have inside the membership, and we can get a couple of other providers to bring it to light. And you may have listened to, the likes of Bob Proctor and read Neville's work. There are many teachers that talk about the law of vibration. Goddard talks about the law of assumption that he calls it, and of course living in that. It is about getting on the frequency of what you want. So it's not just, people have, they create vision boards and they do affirmations and they do statements and everything. And what happens often with those statements is that if you read them out loud to yourself, your conscious mind will tend to argue, because there is no physical evidence that you have actually achieved what it is that is on your statement. So again, repetition is really important, but what's even more vital, and when you read more of Neville's work, you'll find this out, is that it's more important to become completely emotionally involved in whatever that statement is that you have, and in that assumption that it has already come to light. That is not easy. That is difficult to do, because as human beings, we have been taught, now again, this is not maybe our natural state, but we have been taught to, I'll believe it when I see it. And it's actually the opposite. With your pineal gland in your mind's eye, you see it before it becomes reality. We are creators in that way. That is who we are. So when I made the statement in the AHA and said, the truth is, that is the truth. That is who we are. We are co-creators. We have been given that ability to envision and bring into form. Again, there are many sources that will speak in contrary to that, because there are many schools, churches, elite, who have railroaded us into thinking that we are just physical beings, that we are powerless, and we have not been given those capabilities, that there is a power greater than ours that is in control, when in fact we have been given by our creator that very power. So yes, we all work together. Yes, we work with infinite source. Yes, God, whatever it is that you want to call that power, we are communicating with it, and it is definitely a divine source. There's no question about it. However, as when you read Neville's work, he will share, and this is again, this is kind of contrary to some of the some of the teachers, even me to a certain extent, and I'm okay being questioned about it, but my belief is that I heard a translated saying from the Mormons, which goes like this: pray and move your feet. And so I don't believe that just by thinking something you can bring it into action, in a sense that that to some degree you're going to have to take action. But what Neville says is that he said your actions aren't required, in a sense that when you are already living in that assumption, your actions will naturally take hold. That assumption and that vision, when you're living in that picture of health or wealth or whatever, your actions will naturally align with that vision. So it's not like you have to, you've got an affirmation that you're saying, and then with that affirmation, you're saying, well, I guess these are the tasks that I need to do. Yes, to a certain extent, those are probably the tasks you need to do. But when this is beyond, it's not just an affirmation or not just a vision board or not something that's external. When it's internal, when you have assumed it to be true, and this is huge. This is difficult for us to do, but this is huge. When you actually get there, Bob Proctor used to say, when you get on the vibration of the thing, and people go, what the heck does that mean? How do you get on the vibration of it? That is it. You assume that it is already in existence. And you assume, like with me, it is my goal cards and my statements and my gratitude statements, everything always begins the same way. I am so happy and grateful now that I have perfect health. That is all I think about. So if something happens, that I get a bit of a cold or something, or something, is kind of like, what? You know, I'm shocked. And people go, how can you be shocked about having a cold? I am, because my meditations are always on perfect health. That's all I expect. And so my actions that I do, and again, I'm not perfect, and I'm always learning how to be even better at what I do. And I'm undoing lots of old programming that was instilled that has certainly caused some self-sabotage issues. But the awareness of that, going, oh, I'm not my programming. I don't have to buy into what I was told years ago. I don't have to buy into what the authorities are saying. If the authorities are saying, oh, you need to scan this, or you need to take this medication or whatever, I can look at it and I can choose, as an adult and an intelligent being, I can choose to accept it or reject it or something in between. And so I can take that and I can say, does this resonate with me? Let me do some of my own research. Let me get another opinion. Let me talk to a different kind of professional, and maybe that there will be different opinions. Let me kind of go down and see what the validation of this, in terms of how many times have they done this? What have been the effects of it? Or, is it different for each person? Is it different with how many times you have it? Whatever the case is, right? That's what I do, because I am so happy and grateful now that I have perfect health. So I naturally question anything that may in any way compromise my health. Again, I'm not perfect. I'm learning every day, but I'm getting better at it. And the actions aren't driven by a set of circumstances saying, well, I have to eat this now and I have to eat that later. It's a matter of learning. Somebody posted about kale the other day and said, oh, kale used to be fed to the pigs and it's not for human consumption. And other people were chiming and saying, I wouldn't touch that stuff. And of course, it's been hailed as one of the superfoods, right? So again, there's such a contrast of so many issues out there that it's really important for us that we go in and we do our own research and we decide what works for us based on our values and based on our goals. But as Goddard says, that the actions are driven by you just naturally assuming that position, that whatever it is that you want is already happening. So I was saying with Gina, with the one example that I said about my string of green lights, if I'm approaching an intersection and I know that, I want to get through that intersection, I will say to myself out loud, and I do this all the time, I go, that's my green light. Sometimes the light turns yellow, but that's my green light. I've already owned it. I'm already there. And it sounds like, these sound really silly when I say them to people, it's like, why are you worried about a green light? The difference is I'm not operating externally from that green light. The same with the weather. I'll look at a weather forecast and I go, that's not working for me. And I will begin to get in the vibration of the weather system and start to do what I can do to influence, in a way of saying, I am envisioning when I get there, that the sky will open and people will be so happy and we're going to have an amazing golf game, or whatever the case is. This vision starts to become very, very clear with me. And before, it could be a week, it could be a month out. I always tell everybody that, you know, from the time I can remember, my birthday has always been a beautiful day. And this year, and every morning when I wake up on my birthday, it's a sunshine, clear sky every single morning without fail. And all my friends that call or text me there, it's kind of like, yeah, as usual, you know, you got your day. And of course, it's become funny, but it's not funny. It's because I get into that vibration of it, and I already have that envision. This year, it was funny that they said I was going to have absolutely every possible kind of weather, and I mean every. It was going to be sunny in the morning, then we're going to have a snowstorm, then it's going to be windy, and then and I looked at it and I kind of laughed, and I did not fight it, in a sense that I said, I think that's going to be kind of the year that I'm expecting to have. And see, I've already kind of created that. I know that things will always work out, because they do. And we can only, as Steve Jobs used to say, you can only connect the dots backwards. So it's not until, you know, at the end you kind of look back, like my friend Sandrine did the other day, and she was talking about a position that her husband just received, which is like just the best situation where he'll be able to learn some new I'm trying not to talk about his profession, but so he'll be able to learn a completely new level, up level his skill, which is exactly what he wanted to do. And he's going to get paid more money. He's going to be doing the routes and everything that he wants. And it's a very, very exciting career move. And it would not have happened had the old career kind of started to crumble and the conversation taken place with other people. And Sandrine shared it with me, and she said, you know, had that circumstance not happened, and had we not been talking about it with other people, we never would have learned of this new situation. And like, and my husband is just like, he's on you know, on cloud nine. So, you know, we can only look backwards. So I'm looking at, go back to weather, I'm looking at my year and I'm thinking, I know that there's going to be a lot of changes with the work that I'm doing, with the economy, with the people I'm hanging around with. A lot of that is in flux. So I kind of had a smile at the weather, and it was kind of like, I'm okay with that. So true to the forecast, which is not very often, true to the forecast, maybe because I accepted it. The morning was brilliantly sunny. By about 1 o'clock, literally a freak snowstorm out of nowhere came in, and it threw some snow down. And then an hour later, it all melted. And by about 4 o'clock, 4:30, the sun was back out, and the wind had kind of moved that storm. And it was an absolutely gorgeous evening. And I met up with my son, and we had a beautiful dinner and did some shopping together and everything. So it was crazy. It was a crazy day. But I kind of looked at it and said, yeah, you know, maybe that's the way the year is. My point being, again, is that, you know, with the assumption, I never used to love the word assumption, but I understand what Goddard is saying about the division and the, you know, completely embodying and taking responsibility. I mentioned this in Yahan. I want this to be really clear, because dumping, just get rid of, the luck thing, get rid of the Murphy's Law thing, get rid of anything that's external that says to you that I have no control over this, and that everything, and especially if you're feeling victimized, it always happens to me, right? So, I mean, you're just going to attract more of the same. When you start to take responsibility for that, and when you start to realize that you do have that ability to create that vision and to get the energy moving in a direction that's going to be honoring to you and going to bring to life what it is that you want, then things start to happen for you. They really do. So I, said to a few people, this week has been a pivotal week for me. Getting booted off Facebook was probably, a huge gift. I kind of looked at it at the time. I was doing live broadcasts on Facebook, wasn't loving them, but getting booted off Facebook it wasn't something that kind of happened. I laughed at it because the censorship is just laughable. I mean, like I put a post up and I did a screenshot of the, when they censored me, and I said, who cares if it's true or untrue? It's my share. So you be the judge of whether you like it, don't like it, want to keep scrolling, want to research or whatever. It doesn't matter. But for some reason, there's somebody sitting there that's saying, this is right, this is wrong. It's like, it's just so ridiculous. So I kind of laughed at it. But what it did was it pushed me again out of my comfort zone. And I very quickly said, okay, I'm not going to do Facebook Lives anymore. Let's do YouTube. Let's do something different, right? So, and so lots of shifting. So I know that I've said to a few friends that in the last week, I've started to recognize a lot of things coming together, and it's been months and months, if not a couple of years of work to get to this point. But holding that vision, having that intention, having that assumption of just saying, I know what this feels like. I know the work I'm supposed to be doing. I know what it looks like. I know who's coming in to do it. I have no freaking idea how it's going to happen. I don't know even if I have the skills to know how to pull this together, but somebody within my community will, or I'm going to meet them. And that's exactly what's happening. So yeah, so start assuming, start jumping into that assumption. Mostly, as I think this was part of my issue for a while when things kind of fell down a few years ago, and I was not expecting that to happen. And I very quickly realized what was happening, and I got angry at it. I got angry not only for the whole lockdown and everything that was happening. I got very angry with people who didn't see it and who went along with it. That was very frustrating for me. It lasted way longer than I expected it to, and I wasn't expecting to have to do such a massive reinvention. But you know what? It's all good, right? I just feel I was a little slow there. However, it's happening. We're moving in that direction. So that's a really good thing. So, and it's all, I was going to say the issue that I had for a little while was people were saying, well, what do you want? I was like, I don't know, because I wasn't expecting to have to shift that vision. And I noticed some people were so good at pivoting. They were so good at, well, not a lot of cases band-aiding, but they put band-aids on enough to keep going. And it was like, I'm not a band-aid person. I just wanted to shift whatever it was my vision. And I wasn't clear on that. So it took me a little while to really decide what is it that I want to dedicate my life to at this point, right? So I think that's a conversation we always need to have with ourselves. And wouldn't it be nice if we had it when we were 5, 6, 10 years old, that rather than being taught, BS kind of history and math that's irrelevant and not even true in many cases, science is not even true. What if we were taught about who we are as human beings, and we were groomed into thinking and feeling what really turned our crank? I know with my son, because I understood this, many years ago, my son, who is now 29, that when he was younger, and he would get so frustrated in school if he didn't do really, really well, on a subject, because he had a lot of confidence, and he is very intelligent, and he was used to just being able to bang things off. And I used to say to him, pay close attention to what it is that makes you smile, brings you joy, and that you love to do, and then focus on that. And he did go through school, and he still continued to put pressure on himself to make sure that every last math equation was done to a high degree of proficiency. And he takes a lot of pride in that and being able to do all of these things really well. And now he is at 29. He is getting so close on a very daily basis to just live exactly with what it is that he wants to do, and with the awareness. So that's part of the aha here, is become aware, right? And so with the awareness, so I see the difference, and but society has had a lot of influence over that too. So but you know what, I think the point being, let's start our kids early. Let's start them early on understanding that they are here to serve a purpose, and the sooner that they figure out what that is, and they give it all they have the rest of their life, the happier they will be, and probably the more prosperous they will be, right? And when we're happy, everybody's happy, right? I know from being earlier a single mom, and having the business and traveling and doing all this stuff. It was my life was always very busy, which I loved, but oftentimes was very, very stressful. And I know that, there were people who were like, I'd be a repellent to them. It's like, so because they could tell that I wasn't happy by doing all that stuff. It was just too much, right? So I think being happy, there's a lot to be said for that. And you can tell when somebody's in their element, they're really loving their work, and they're just a joy to be around, right? Like you and me having this conversation right now. So we're here because we want to be, because we love this conversation, and because we're important, and we want to learn more about who we are, and we want to serve more, even on purpose, to the highest level that we can, as the spiritual people say, to our highest good, right? So we want to keep that in mind. Anyway, I hope you're having a wonderful day. I look so forward to your response to this aha, about assuming, about intentions, about visualizing, about getting in that vibration. Let me know what you think. think. And do like, share, subscribe, share with your friends, have conversations over it, send me your notes, and let's keep this conversation going. Okay. Look forward to seeing you inside the Human Approach membership. Always take a human approach, and always, and just looking to stop record here so that we can finish up as